Hello and welcome! Today, I'll be sharing with you an incredible sci-fi adventure through the fractures of time. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on the continuation of this thrilling journey. The year is 1895, London. In a dark workshop at the heart of the city, Professor Harold Whitmore, the unsung hero of the scientific world, continued his work on a device capable of bending and twisting time. What was once merely a figment of imagination had become a real possibility. However, like all great discoveries, this one too would have unexpected consequences. As Professor Whitmore prepared for the first test of the time machine, his assistant Miss Clara was conducting the final checks. All calculations were correct, and history was about to be written tonight. Yet no one could predict what kind of history it would be. That evening, as Whitmore and Clara stood by the machine, a noise began to mix with the ticking of the old clocks on the workshop walls. Suddenly, a time storm erupted. As the machine began to uncontrollably emit energy, a piece of the city at the heart of London vanished in the blink of an eye. Following this event, Professor Whitmore and his team had to embark on a journey into the depths of time to retrieve the missing piece of the city. This adventure would be both fascinating and devastating for everyone touched by the fabric of time. Whitmore had to push the limits of science to foresee the outcomes of these journeys to the past and future. However, what he did not know was how fragile time itself was. If you're curious to see how the story unfolds, continue watching the rest of the video. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications to support us. Now, our journey beyond time begins. Continuing, when our journey beyond time began, Professor Whitmore and his assistant Clara traveled to different periods of the past in search of the missing city piece. Their first stop was the year 1666, amid the still hot embers of the Great Fire of London. Amid the smoke, in an era not their own, they desperately searched for pieces of their city. Each journey made the fabric of time even more complex. Clara began to feel herself changing with the touch of the past. With each return, they began to notice slow changes in the streets of London. Some buildings had moved. Some historical events seemed as if they had never occurred, erased from the records. These changes weakened their ties to their own reality, and with each passing day, they felt more lost within the folds of time. Meanwhile, Professor Whitmore and Clara had to face the dangers of time travel. In ancient Rome, they witnessed a gladiator fight and accidentally saved a historical figure's life, which dramatically changed the course of history. This change showed them that time travel carried not only physical, but also ethical responsibilities. The professor decided to make a more careful plan to repair the fragile structure of time and find the missing city piece. During this process, by creating a time map, they began to measure the effects of each of their travels on the galaxy. However, while racing against time, Professor Whitmore and Clara encountered an unexpected obstacle, an enemy from the past, trying to manipulate time for their own interests. This enemy had stolen the secrets of the time machine and created their own version to alter history in their favor. For Whitmore and Clara, the battle was not only to find the missing city piece, but also to protect the entire history of humanity. This struggle would not only take them to the depths of time, but also force them to face the fears within themselves. This breathtaking struggle through the depths of time culminated for Professor Whitmore and Clara in their final stop, ancient Egypt. There, they finally found the lost city piece, hidden within the folds of time. However, the discovery was not as they had expected. The lost piece had become stuck between different layers of time, distorting the surrounding temporal fabric. To correct this time anomaly, the professor used all his knowledge and the power of the time machine to create a time loop. Thanks to this loop, the city piece was restored to the correct flow of time, and history resumed its proper form. However, in the process, Professor Whitmore and Clara had to pay the heavy price of their time travels. Clara got lost in the folds of time, while Professor Whitmore returned to London, aged and weakened. Professor Whitmore decided to permanently shut down the time machine. The dangers of the machine were now clear, and the damage it caused could have been greater than anything they had gained. This decision taught the professor that time travel was not only a scientific achievement, but also a great responsibility. The story ends with Professor Whitmore remaining an unsung hero in the history books. Yet, the adventures he and Clara experienced remained hidden in the time machine at the heart of London. Their story, a symbol of friendship and sacrifice that transcended time, remained a secret known to only a few. This was not only the end of a threat, but also a turning point that forever changed humanity's thoughts on time and existence.